next talk is going to be given by Grady Boyce and Hilde Bergh about community-wide astronomy education through an online research program.
Well, good morning. My name is Grady Boyce, and I am one of the voices of BEWiSE. We have a few voices of BEWiSE. We have a huge support staff, folks you see in the shirts, community college professors, individuals like Hilde, and so we're going to talk a bit about that program today. One of the things I want to highlight about BEWiSE is our mission statement. Specific public, charitable, and scientific educational purposes of this corporation are to provide scientific and technical research opportunities to enhance educational experience of students and to introduce them to the scientific and technical communities. That's our mission statement, and we try to accomplish that through a variety of tasks. So a brief history of BEWiSE. In 2013, we started out as a nonprofit organization, and we established an astronomy club at a local high school. That club flourished to where the school had asked us to develop an A to G, a University of California certified annual program in astronomy. So this enabled high school students to take a year-long class in astronomy and get University of California credit for it, which was quite an accomplishment that we were proud of. We also were blessed to have the opportunity to meet Dr. Genet and involved with some Kitt Peak speckle observations, and we acquired a remote observatory site just outside of San Diego. In 2015, we started the first semester of the astronomy research seminar, and then at this particular school, we had 2 more semesters that followed on with that. In 2016, we started a summer instructor workshop where the instructors went through the courses that I'll talk to you about. The principal one to date has been an astrometry-based course, but I'm going to show you the others that we have as well. But this is great in building up our team. We had high school teachers, we had college teachers, we had local interested adult parents that wanted to be involved in this and be a teacher in the program. We also, in the fall of 2016, launched our online research seminar. Many of the hurdles that you all know with schools and with education, we were able to overcome with the online class, so we also call it a hybrid. It's a bit of face-to-face as well, and I'll talk about that in a second. We introduced the course into 3 local community colleges here through the honors class program, and we also had 3 high schools that adopted this as an after-school program. In 2017, this has continued to grow, and we, in the spring semester, had 60+ students in the courses, and it's forecasted to grow even higher over the upcoming years, so we're facing resources of instructors if anybody wants to volunteer. Advanced research projects are underway. This is a fascinating program to us because we had an astrometry, a photometry, and an exoplanet program, but then we cracked the door open to individual student research. It was amazing how many of our repeat students have rushed through that door. So to date, we have about 20 students in a variety of independent programs that we help monitor and guide. Photometry class is coming online this fall. We are working with the AAVSO's materials on that. And one of the key pieces to this, and the reason the AAVSO is so valuable to this effort, is what we've touched on in here, and we just touched on in the last presentation. Let's make sure that the data that's received is professional quality, that we're not just out there taking images and going, hey, check this out, but we actually can reduce these and have scientific grade images. So we provide the opportunities and the training to do that, and I'll show you the tools that we use in just a second. The exoplanets, the asteroids, we had forecasted to be next spring. Scratch that out, it's happening now. We have a pretty large exoplanet program that is rapidly growing, and we have more and more students raising their hand in that, and we're actively taking exoplanet data today. An important element of all of the BEWiSE courses is that we want to break down the barriers and mitigate perceived hurdles for all students. We talked about how do we reach students. Well, we have had difficulties with high school administrations in some cases. We've had difficulties with registrations in other cases. So we are working to get rid of all of these so that if a student has to express the one requirement, we have one requirement for a course, that's desire. If they express the desire and they want to be a part, we open the door and we take some of those barriers down so that they can be actively involved in it. So BEWiSE courses are attended by anyone regardless of age or social circumstance. So whether you come from a very wealthy background or you don't have any money, we don't care. The requirement is desire. So if they express that, they're in. Age, we have done 13 years old all the way up through upper 70s. So this is not just a high school, not just a college. If you have a desire to do this, come on into the class, the course says, and you can be a part of that. So as I mentioned, administrative barriers are minimized, economic barriers are eliminated. But what are we talking about when we talk about these courses? We have huge costs of computers, softwares, telescopes. All of those are provided, and those barriers are wiped out. So the student, when they express that one requirement, they're brought into the system and they have access. We'll show you what that is in a second. In a moment, we're going to have the BEWiSE organization, through one of our star students, Hilde, talk about what their organization is. This, in the spring, we were able to bring in a female-focused STEM organization. We have also had other discussions where we've gone out as far as talking to astronomers in Afghanistan, the possibilities of opening up doors for these kinds of courses. Being online, being in a hybrid fashion, really enables that growth opportunity. So here's kind of the process. This is on our Double Stars course, but this is the fundamental path for each one of the projects. The students come together, we develop, we work in teams. So we have up to 67 plus students right now, but we break them out into teams. Can't have 67 on a team. We max it out at 5. The minimum team is 2. We have done 1, but the mentors step in as a project partner with them when that happens, because somebody drops out. Life happens and somebody moves out of a group, but we don't want to leave the remaining folks with that desire stranded. So they learn the fundamentals of the course. You'll see an example of the syllabus in just a second. And then they present their proposal. What do they want to research? Then we give them access to the observations or the remote sites. We're tied into the iTelescope network, but we also have a number of other telescopes that are on our side as well. So we provide the full range of declinations from which they can work. They process the data. The calibration aspect, the flats, the darks, the bias frames are coming into the next phase. You'll see in a second that we have an intro class where the calibration is provided for you. But at the next steps, when you start talking light curves, exos, and photometry, they have to get in there and do that work, and we give them the tools to do that. They do the data reduction and analysis. We do not give them a canned format. We do not tell them, here are the statistics, write this in your paper. They calculate the statistics. They get involved in the math. They know what standard deviation is. So we make them do that, put it in their papers, and then present it later. So they write the paper, they present their findings, and what's interesting to me is I thought that the students would shy away from a formal presentation where they get up in a room like this. I thought maybe, all right, we'll have 25% of the teams that'll show up, the rest will come up with excuses why they couldn't be there. But that's not true. I think we're at the 98% of the students coming in to present their results. It's fascinating. It's really been wonderful to watch. Then after this, they either become class mentors, which we have a growing number of those as well, or they move on to the next classes and then step into that mentor role. So the students, they do science in teams from the beginning to the end. We teach them what a Gantt chart is. We make them fill one out. We make them put in some buffers for the, who knew this would happen, right? Because in high school sometimes you tend to look at your materials and there's a canned answer and a canned time frame, but real life doesn't operate like that. So we make them put the buffers in. Then you can see a screenshot up there of where we do online meetings. We've had 30 plus people in an online meeting. So one of the great aspects of this course is we don't care where you live. So come on into the course and you can join up online with your teams and work in that fashion. In the lower right there is a picture of one of the presentations that we have where they present their results. The course resources, so on the far right is an example of the syllabus. Here's how it works. We have 16 weeks of the course. The first 6 weeks, we teach you the science. We teach you the fundamentals. We teach you what right ascension declination is. We teach you how to find the stars. How do you read catalogs? And when that gets processed through the 6 weeks, we then move into the part where they're selecting their project. We don't limit you to 5 or 10 stars you can do. We say the universe is yours, choose. And they pick them, and they narrow them down. And then they do the research. And then the last half of the course is them writing the paper. They write a 1 draft, 2 draft, 3 drafts. We get through that. It goes out to peer review. It comes back to them. It goes back out to publication. So it's a pretty robust process. Our courses are structured with online videos. So today we have about 25 different online videos. The fundamental course is 18 videos. The FYI, do you want more knowledge, are the rest. And now we have topics for more, and I think I'm adding about another 10 this summer, as well as all the videos for the photometry side. So it'll be a busy video summer, but they're fabulous pieces, like how do you use Gaia? How do you use the Parkman data? Things of that sort. The resources we provide on the robotic telescopes. Right now, as I mentioned, the iTelescope network. We are heavily involved in that. We have a C11 and a CDK20, which will be coming online here by the end of the summer. That'll be run through ACP. Thank you, Bob. We also have purchased part-time a Sierra Remote Observatory scope, which we have tons of data coming in for that. In fact, that's actually the one that's doing the EXO work right now. And then here's the key piece. We call Bergh. This is our online server with tools, because as I mentioned, we don't want to have any administrative issues in the way. We don't want to have any economic backgrounds. How do I afford software? How do I learn to use the variety of freeware? We simplify this. You express that one requirement, you express that desire, you have access to all of this. We give you a full Microsoft Office suite, SkyX, Stellarium, SkyTools 3, Maxim DL, AstroImage J, Hyperphysics course, which is a wonderful course out of Georgia State, Mira Pro 64, Astrometrica, DS9, Spectral Toolbox, Reduct, Registrax, variety of Excel calculators. Everything you need is on that server. So we don't have to get involved with Google Docs and the problems that may have when it's exporting out. Everything is done through these fashions here. So there's some of the free software there, but there's also a lot that's quite expensive, and it's available to them, because when we talk about the professional grade stuff, we want to make sure that they're using good quality software as well. So here's been our growth. First 4 semesters, we had 1 school. We had roughly 8 students in that course. In 2016, we had 6 schools online, and it bumped up to 14 papers that were published from that. Papers now in progress are 20. And we had 34 from the 16 to 17 school year. We had published 75 authors, and we have another 67 in progress right now. So it's when it gets time to review the papers, it gets busy. The high schools, we have 3 in the classroom and 9 online. We have 3 local community college online. We just brought San Diego State's Astronomy Club in this semester as well. And they're expanding from just the basic astrometry course into the advanced studies as well, and they have proposed about 2 or 3 different projects they want to run with. So this slide is slightly outdated, but it's growing quite a bit right now. So our goal is to remove the fear and loathing from this and let you know that you can do this. So before, I don't know anything about science. Do I have to do a lot of math? Do I really have to work with others? Why can't I do it by myself? Do I have something to present? Or do I have to present something to the audience? Well, when all of this is over, after their papers are accepted, they're greatly relieved, and they find that they can do this. This takes the fear out of public speaking. This takes the fear out of the process, and we mentor them all the way. And the really beautiful thing I keep touching on are the students that come back and say, I want to do more, I want to do something else, I want to get involved in this. What about this idea? We don't limit. So if we find a new idea that we don't have the tools for, we find a way to acquire them. Spectroscopy is a great example. We don't currently have a spectrograph, but we've had a lot of interest in this. We're on that. So this is great to take this and keep growing with it. All right, these are our courses that we have. The Double Stars is the first one, and that's the prerequisite to entry. What does it give them? It gives them an understanding of the scientific method. It gives them an idea how to write. Gives them an idea how to work in teams, tells them how to present, they understand statistics, they get the fundamentals of celestial coordinate systems, catalogs. So you need that, and then you step forward in the next courses. So the Variable Stars course requires class 1, it's a 1 semester course. The Advanced Stars is where we start getting into the EXO work, and we want you to get into class 2 first. So we want you to understand the photometry aspects, have gone through the materials that Stella's provided through the AAVSO. And then we have the advanced studies, which we have as a 9-month, but you at least have to have class 1. Now, if you want to do an advanced studies where there's some photometric aspects, yes, you got to go through the photometric side. But if it doesn't, then you can proceed through that on a 9-month basis. We take it out of the semester time frame because we know holidays, finals, summer, fill in the blank with an obstacle. But now we can do this over a longer period of time to allow them to dive deeper into the product. So that's what's become really successful. And to highlight some of those, we have statistical analysis, 3 students involved in that. Can you take a double star from a variety of places around the globe and combine those measurements into one? What are the statistics on that? What are the errors on that? Speckle interferometry, we have 5 students involved in that. We have 1 student that wants to undertake new common and proper motion pairs. We have 2 students doing a comparison of the Aladdin measurements to Mirror Pro. What is that software going to do, public domain versus a private software? We have 9 students in the Exoplanet project, and we have 2 doing UV-VRI photometry and comparing spectral types to discover new astrometric systems outside that have not been presently recorded. So I'll give you a highlight, and then I'm going to pass over to my partner here to talk about BEWiSE. This is kind of an overview of what we provide at Brief. We have the double stars course, the variable stars, and the advanced. We provide the instructional support services. So if you want to be an instructor in this, we train the trainer, we bring you through the course, we give you the materials you need, you have access to it all. We provide the research computer, which has all of that software that we've talked about. We have the observatory, so we have 3 telescopes online, and for your projects, we can give access to the telescopes as well. All of these feed into the San Diego high schools that we're working with, the community college, and also our Boyce Astro Research Institute. So we're bringing this into a larger institution basis where all of these courses are available. We will always provide Boyce Astro instructor training and support to these groups. This can feed, these individual arenas can feed the high school students and the college students through the communities. The adults can come in through a community college, go straight to the resource, or if they don't want to do any of these, all of these groups can come directly to us and take that course as well. The cost of the courses right now has been free. It's for foreseeable future, we may do some small kind of cost of maintenance fee. And I know that when we get into the photometry side that we're going to require that they have their own membership in the AABSO because those tools are so valuable, they need to be a member of that organization, so we'll bring them in with that aspect. So that's kind of an overview of what we provide at Brief. It's a pretty wide basis. We teach them stars, telescopes, cameras, we teach them filters, how to take images, what are the coordinates, Kepler's laws, all the basics. What's important is on the right, the skills developed. College registration, we help them with those processes, self-discipline, scientific method analysis, teamwork, leadership, sharing the load, proposal writing, project planning, and visualization of the data in their presentations. All right, my friends, that's a quick overview. I'm going to pass this off to our partner, Hilde, to talk about the BEWiSE organization.
Thanks, Grady. Okay, so I've been working with BEWiSE for about 16 years, and it started 17 years ago. It's better education for women in science and engineering, and there's just a few pictures of some of our girls. So BEWiSE was started because the creator of the program, Pat Winter, she decided that she needed to do something. She's not in science at all, but she was San Diego Science Alliance. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it was a San Diego group that tried to bring together people in STEM careers and STEM jobs with teachers and educators in order to bridge the gap, because in San Diego we have a lot of really good STEM companies and institutions, but they weren't really connecting with the educators, the teachers, and getting to the students so that the students would know what was available in San Diego and how they would get those jobs in those STEM careers. So that was San Diego Science Alliance, and from that, BEWiSE was created in order to focus on the girls in STEM fields. And so she was saying, okay, so where do we lose these girls? Because up through elementary school, girls and boys, there's not really any difference in terms of math and science. And then all of a sudden, we lose the girls. So we noticed that it was middle school. Middle school is where the girls start doing other things. So how do you fix that? How do you engage these girls, these young women, to not only continue with STEM, but to really do really well in STEM and get a career in STEM, go to college in a STEM field, get a STEM job, and then they can also mentor others. So, so the idea was that we were going to try to find people in STEM careers, women in STEM careers, who could then mentor these girls. So mentorship has been proven to work very well, especially when you want to keep girls going in a certain direction. Mentorship has been proven to work very well, to be a very good stepping stone for that. So they decided to go out to these STEM careers, these women in STEM careers, and ask them to be volunteers. And so we wanted to do something that we could invite as many girls as possible, engage in as many girls in as diverse a backgrounds as possible, do it for free. So we needed a lot of volunteers who would be willing to do this for free. So where do you find all these volunteers? Well, remarkably, a lot of women in STEM fields would love to mentor girls and help them. So that's what we did. We connected with all these wonderful women in San Diego. And then we got the educators on board because they were also very willing. And so, so that's how it started. So, so it's been going 17 years. I think we've had about 2,000 girls go through the program. We keep contact with over 500 of them. Many of them already graduated college and are working in STEM fields. Many of them come back and help us with our program. So the way that it starts is a girl in 7th or 8th grade applies to the program. They have to fill out an application. They have to get a teacher recommendation, and they have to answer a brief essay question. So we pick 120 girls a year. There's 3 overnights. So the first thing they do is they get invited to an overnight. And so we've had overnights at many different places in San Diego, including the SeaWorld Hub's research facility, the San Diego Zoo Center for Research of Endangered Species, Bergh Aquarium, the Living Coast Discovery Center, the Fleet Science Center, and they do an overnight. And the way that we pick the girls is, the first thing we do is we get applications from girls all over San Diego County, usually through their science teachers, but some of them on their own find us, some of them through their parents, so they hear about us from different venues. And so the first thing off the top is we take 2 girls from each school. So regardless of what their application says, 2 girls from each school, that way we have a nice diversity right off the top. And then from there, we look at other considerations, but we try to do it as fairly as possible. One of the things that we look at is who's going to be a first-generation college student. And so we go with those 2. Those are at the top, and if their sibling has been in the program, we usually take them as well. So, so they do an overnight, and then they're in the program until they graduate high school. And there's Saturday workshops all throughout the year, at all different places all around San Diego. So they've had all different things. They've had Supercomputer Center and Qualcomm and General Atomics, and they do all kinds of programs in all different STEM fields. And then when they come back, they get to, they have alumni events, and we have a lot of girls who actually participate in the program as well after they've graduated. So this is just a few of the partners that we've had. I mean, there's a lot more than this. Hubs Research, General Atomics, Living Coast, the Society of Women Engineers, and we have a lot of volunteers from there. So that's a bunch of those. So the Astronomy Research Seminar really works for our girls. So one of the things that we did for 3 years, we had a program called the Youth Space Institute, where girls would design and build a micro-controlled tiny experiment that went on the space station, which was awesome. The problem is that we have girls from all over San Diego County. We had 15 girls coming from all over, meeting once a week, and that's very difficult for a lot of these girls. They're busy, they're smart, they're in high school, they have all kinds of things going on. So that was hard. It was doable, but it was difficult. So the Astronomy Research Seminar is online. So there's no, these girls can totally do this at home, after school. We had nighttime meetings. And so when I did this Astronomy Research Seminar myself, I said, this is perfect for BEWiSE because we have all these girls, all diverse backgrounds. They can all meet online, totally cool, totally doable. So we had our first semester, last semester. I have one of my students here today, and actually 2 of them. And so this was the first time that we did it. We had 6 girls, 2 teams, and right now they're currently writing their papers, and I think this is going to be a really good fit because, like I said, online is just amazing. And we also try to provide as much of our BEWiSE programs for free as possible because we like Reef, we don't want cost to be the factor. We want desire to be the factor. That's what we want them to do. So, and it's also great for college applications. That's one of the things that we want to push is we mentor these girls through high school, and we want them to get into the colleges. So their applications are very important. We also teach them how to do their applications. And so the research, they have a published paper on their application for college. I mean, that's awesome. So I want to introduce Greta and Anvita. Those are two of our students. They're just going to briefly explain their experience with the Astro seminar.
Hello. Hello, I'm Anvita. I have been in BEWiSE since 7th grade. It's 4 years. And I actually found the astronomy research seminar through BEWiSE. And BEWiSE itself, I've been to a lot of workshops over the years, and I've gotten a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten from my school or my community. And I've met a lot of people from a lot of different places through BEWiSE. And especially this last semester, because we had online classes, actually the people on my team, they live like far away from me, and I got to meet a lot of different people, and it was a really cool experience because this program mixes high school students, it mixes college students, it mixes adults together. We all present our proposals, we all present our final presentations, and especially for me, that's very intimidating to get up in front of college students who are studying this, who are doing projects that are so much more complicated than what I'm able to do. But you know, it helped me like develop a skill set that is definitely going to help me in my like future career. And it was a really good experience to present to people, to present to professionals, to actually be here talking to all of you. And I got this opportunity through BEWiSE, and it's meant a lot to me.
Hi, I'm Greta. I'm the daughter of Hilde, and I was in BEWiSE of the overnight in 7th grade, and it's been 3 years now since I've been in BEWiSE. And I didn't do the voice through BEWiSE. I actually did it through my school the first semester of this last year. And so that was a really exciting experience because my school was doing it, so I had other people that I knew from my school doing it. And so since my school is K through 12, it wasn't just high school, it was 8th graders to 12th graders, so it was a small class, but it had a variety of people and students doing it. So it was a really cool experience to do voice. It was just a new experience to do. It taught me a lot. You know, I had no idea what double star was at first. I was like, what is this? What am I doing? And so eventually I got it. And so in BEWiSE, I'm happy to hear that BEWiSE is also doing it, because it's a great experience for women, young women, and just everyone actually. So yeah, and so my STAR system, I was one of the first people to get it through peer review.
The first.
Yeah, the first person in my class. So I was alone at that time because with the help of my mom. So because my group didn't work out, so I had to, our schedules weren't working, so I just went alone and I left them because I didn't want to be a burden. So so I did it with the help of my mom, and it was very successful. I learned a lot of things. My STAR system was amazing, and you can read more about it on July 1st when it is published.
All right, thank you for your time. Do we have a few minutes for questions?
Yeah, we do. About 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay, any questions? Dr. J.
I just want to mention that of the astronomy research seminars, where there's quite a few of them in California and Hawaii, this is the most advanced example of the astronomy research seminar. Thursday in the conference, we're going to hear more details about the voice version, and we're going to hear about other versions of the seminar and material that's being developed for all the seminars. and evaluation of the seminar, but it's just a tremendous effort that they've done down here in San Diego. I'm just totally pleased.
Thank you. Sir?
Yeah, Boyd, the Bark idea is genius. It's something I've been doing. Okay, and I suppose you're doing that either through an RDP VM or a HyperStack or Hyper-V infrastructure.
No, it's just Windows Server.
Okay, my question is, when I looked at doing this and started setting it up, I started finding some serious violations of the licensing agreement on all that
We
software.
preclude the licensing agreements.
You did that? How did
Yes,
you do
sir.
that? How'd you do that?
Direct contact.
Direct contact and they allowed site licensing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, so you have this suite of resources. Is there other ways for other robotic telescope systems to access or have access to your resources?
To the software?
Yeah, to your online class, course, syllabi, everything.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Be happy to chat with you on the break about how we can organize something like that. Yes, ma'am.
I think it's really great. It's a really great project. And I was just wondering, as it's an application process for the girls, do you have any way, they obviously are already invested in science in some way, do you have any way of targeting girls who may have not even thought about taking that career path?
All right, hold on, let me clarify something before you get to the second part. The BRIEF program in itself, through our BRIEF Academy, does not have an application process.
No, sorry, the BEWiSE.
Correct, the BEWiSE. All right, so I'll let you answer the BEWiSE.
Sorry.
I just want to separate the two.
Oh, sorry.
We don't have an application process. BEWiSE itself does. They can take our course however they want to come in.
Yes, you were asking, how do you get the girls that aren't necessarily know that they're interested in
Yeah.
science? That's a good question. Most of our girls already have an interest in science, that's why they're applying. A lot of the times what I've noticed in our program over the years is that the science teacher themselves will tell because everybody has to take science in school, so they'll tell their girls, this is a requirement, you have to apply. So we've had that happen before. We've had it happen where parents make their kids apply. No, you don't have a choice, you're doing this. That's actually happened more often than you might think. But what happens is the girls do the program and then they're like, I had no idea that this even existed. I had no idea, this is awesome. And so they end up staying and becoming scientists, which is pretty cool. But there's no real way that it's hard to just go out and say, you don't like science, but you're gonna come do this. But yeah, we reach a lot of people through high schools. Although it's getting more difficult to reach the public high schools because the teachers are so busy with the curriculum that they have to do, at least in San Diego, that it's hard for them to add anything, they just don't have time. So we have a lot more private schools and home schools than we used to in the beginning of the project. We still have a lot of public schools too, so we're hoping to push that some more.
Let me interject for a second. We've got another student here. We've got several of our students here. I want to be sure that Bianca gets to speak. She's been a star student of ours. But that's a very valid point. There's some real impediments to introducing this into the public schools. The administrative impediments are huge. The online course, that part of our program, is particularly well suited for the public school student, because basically it takes an act of Congress to get that course installed in the public school. So I encourage you to really think seriously about online, or as we do it, online hybrid, so people get to meet each other and work together as well. But the private schools, on the other hand, are quite ready and willing to adopt this and teach it in the classroom. So that creates a discrimination that frustrates us. That's why we really try to emphasize the online course. But let Bianca speak for a moment.
So hi, my name is Bianca. I'm also a member of BEWiSE. I've been in BEWiSE since I've been in 8th grade. And the program that Hilde had mentioned regarding the Youth Space Institute, I was part of the last class in that group. And that was my first real experience of getting in depth of research, and the BEWiSE program actually, thankfully, got me into that, and up until now I'm still continuing doing research, so thank you to both voices for that opportunity. I was also part of their asterisk research seminar this past spring semester. However, I did not complete a paper with BEWiSE, but it was very nice to see that other women in the field were also present in that paper. A lot of times, and what I've noticed, in science there haven't been as many females, and sometimes that's very overwhelming. But in recent times, seeing all these girls in BEWiSE, and seeing all these girls in BEWiSE has really inspired me to continue. So but pretty much there was actually a Saturday program that I had attended. It's very hard to get, I believe it was very hard to get into this facility. It is the D3D tokamak for general atomics. I was thankful enough to have been accepted into that Saturday program to view that facility, and currently I am now doing research at UCSD for plasma physics at the CSDX here, as I said, at UCSD. So that was actually really nice to know that something I had done in a Saturday program would now impact me in my real life. So I think these Saturday programs at BEWiSE, they were probably some of the most, they were really effective. I had done some biology aspects, and biology, not my thing, but pretty much with that, I kind of narrowed it down that, okay, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. And I remember whenever we had these, our reflection sheets for BEWiSE, they would always have, what would you like to see more of? So I'd always ask for more astronomy, more physics, and I was thankful enough to have them actually advertise this to us. If BEWiSE had not advertised this astronomy research seminar, I wouldn't have been able to complete my paper, which is now currently in line.
The way your paper sits right now will be submitted for publication about 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah. So thankfully I have that opportunity through BEWiSE and through Voice Astro. So thank you.
Ron.